Hello and welcome to yet another wonderful episode with a very, very dear friend, Harsh Ramchandani. I know him from almost 10 to 15 years now, but for me, he was always a very, very intelligent person, well sorted, well thought strategies and plannings he has always adopted in his career. Time and again, I was pretty impressed by his decision making skills for his career, especially, and the way he is progressing and achieving every mile in every span of time. We personally welcome you, Harsh, today on our channel Leaders in Making.
Yeah, thank you, Sunita ma'am, for such a nice introduction and also for praising me this much. So really thankful to you, and I hope this session today will be very helpful to our audience as well, so that
Absolutely.
we can, we can do
Yeah,
some value addition to the young people.
I'm very sure about it. For my audience, I would like to tell you that he is a BE from NSIT, one of the most prestigious, prominent institution in the country for engineering programs. Post engineering, he moved on to Cisco and then from Cisco to Siemens. He's also an author of the book, which is the Hands on System Design. And when I was going through his LinkedIn profile, I saw that he builds product from scratch. We'll understand the meaning of that term. And apart from all those stuff, he has 10,000 things which he's already doing in his computer field. So before we begin and move into your industry experience and exposure, Harsh, I would really would like to know for my audience that how you prepared for your entrance, because cracking BE computer engineering specialization, the most demanded specialization in India and abroad, and that too with an institution called NSIT. How did you manage to move into that?
So I would say that preparation for this BTech colleges, especially like NSIT or DTU, it's pretty challenging because you have to start from the 10th class, and then uh, right after the 10th, when you have just given your board, and then you have to put your focus towards these engineering examinations, seem pretty daunting to the young students actually. But I think with the right mindset and the time management skill, you can make that time most of your like in a very judicious manner to prepare for such examinations. I believe when the student join 11th class, so he doesn't have very good knowledge about how to prepare for these examination, because the kind of skill set or critical thinking that these examination entails, it's very different from our regular board examinations. Generally, board examinations are more of a subjective nature, where you are given a question and then you have to answer it. Now, uh, these engineering examinations are pretty different from it because they are mostly objective in nature. So when this objective things comes into the picture, so you have to do two things very correctly. First is you have to solve it very quickly, and second, you should be very thorough with that particular concept that it needs to solve that particular question. Now, generally, these things are not taught very clearly in our schools because, obviously they are working on a different pattern, and engineering examination demands a different kind of skill set in itself. So I believe at that point, you really need a guidance or mentor who can actually help you to prepare for such examination. So in my case, fortunately, I was under the guidance of some people like that, and they actually helped me a lot during my preparation.
Sure.
So understanding the core concepts of physics, chemistry, mathematics was one of the key things that these examination demands, and I was able to learn all these things from very good teachers actually.
Okay.
So that is first set of thing which is really needed. And apart from that, I think time management is also plays a key role, because you have to manage your school along with these entrance examination, and it's not at all easy, I would say,
Sure.
because you are in school. So school environment is very different, and then you come to this engineering exam preparation, so that is a different world in itself. And then you are competing not just among 100 or 200 people, you are competing with lakhs of students. If you see AIEEE examination, I believe it doesn't exist as of now. Right now it's all JEE advanced and main, but back then there were IIT and AIEEE examination. So I remember during my time, approximately 11 lakh students competed for that exam.
It's a big
So,
number.
when you are competing, yeah, it's a big number. So when you are competing with so many people and, you need your favorite course and favorite college, then you have to be pretty thorough and very confident about your preparation. And as I said, not everyone is privileged to have people of BTech background in their family. And unfortunately, that was the case with me as well. So I believe some set of guidance is needed at that point. So it's good to enroll in some institute where you can get that guidance. But today I can say that even internet has all those things. But how to use it properly, it is also a skill in itself.
Okay.
So if you can do it while using internet, then it's good. But otherwise, I believe it's good to join some coaching institute, get proper guidance and mentorship, and then get the things straight, and like you can succeed. Like if you can just follow these simple steps.
Okay. So you started your preparation precisely from class 10 with physics, chemistry, maths. You paid extra attention. So from which stage you suggest that people should join an academy to prepare for these exams?
Well, I believe that it doesn't matter. Like you can just sit and study wherever you feel most comfortable with. I don't believe in a notion that particular place has, more set of good teachers than any other place. It's not like that. Like any place you can get good teachers, and it also depends on you also, right? How much information you can extract from your teacher.
Sure.
Generally,
did you join any academy that time?
Sorry?
Did you join any academy that time?
Yeah, so I was enrolled in the Disha classes.
Okay.
So it's in Delhi itself. So it has some great teachers of the physics, chemistry, and mathematics, and they are very good teachers. So there I enrolled myself, and I got good clarity of the concepts that are involved in clearing these examinations. So precisely there I learned all those skills.
So you were in which class when you joined this academy?
So I joined around I initially prepared 11, 12 mostly on my own. And then right after 12th, I joined these Disha classes. So that was it.
Okay, because now I see lot many people who are giving entrance exam. They are joining such academies from class 9th or 10th probably. The early, preparation. What is your thought over that, joining academy early?
So I believe joining early gives you a good head start. But at the same time, I believe that it's also important to enjoy life and that phase itself. Like, don't just get too burdened with these things like where I'm going to join and all these things right from the class 9. Because I believe it's such a tender age where your decision to join the BTech may be influenced by even your friends.
True.
And at later stage, you may realize that you may not even want to join that BTech degree.
Sure.
I believe 9th is a bit too early. Like give your board exams properly, and then maybe after class 10th, you can, work on your skills and see if you really want to join the BTech course or not.
Sure. So you did it from NSIT. What were the other institution you were aiming to, get into, and what made you prefer moving into NSIT apart from the other colleges?
So I believe I was mainly aiming for the IIT. Apart from the NSIT and DTU in Delhi. So fortunately, I got selected in the IIT examination, but somehow my rank was not that good. To get me into some very good IIT colleges with very good courses like computer science and electronics. So since my emphasis was more on those courses, so I got a very good rank in AIEEE that was close to 1200. And since I was getting very good courses in these colleges like NSIT Delhi, so I decided I should just join there. Because I had some feedback from the seniors who were already studying there, and they said that these colleges are also pretty good. So I thought, let's give it a shot and let's join. So that's why I just decided to go there.
We have heard that NSIT is one of the best institutions. So how was your experience? Now you have done it from that place only. Vis-a-vis the experience which was shared to you by your seniors.
Well, seniors articulated everything very precisely, like you will get good teachers and all those things. But I lived to that journey, so I can say it myself that indeed the journey was very good,
Okay.
because the kind of students who enrolled in NSIT are very talented.
Sure.
And I feel like most of them are already IIT qualified people.
Okay.
So most of the batchmates, since they have already through those examinations, so you can see that you are among the set of intellectual people. So naturally, your motivation to work hard, study hard comes from within, right? When you're working with such a good and talented and motivated people.
Sure.
So that was one of the good thing there. And apart from that, I think teachers are also very good, because their emphasis on the core computer science fundamental is very good. Plus,
Okay.
there are a lot of practical subjects where you can learn some industry skills like C, C++, or algorithms, etc., which
Okay.
you heavily use when you
Okay.
work right after your graduation.
Okay.
So I believe I also enrolled in those courses. I learned those skills. So living that through the journey of my BTech, I think it all made a very valuable input to my skill set. And
Sure.
that also helped me to secure a good job later.
I'm
So
so
in
happy
those
that, we call so many people for our podcast, but you are one of them who has really praised and valued and respected your teachers so much. It is very much there in every of your sentence. I also witnessed that you received some merit scholarship while you were a student in NSIT. We would like to know, what was that scholarship all about?
So I believe to a certain set of students who are, I think, in some top 1% or something like that. I'm not very sure about that particular stat, but it is something like that. Who are in top X percentage, they are entitled to receive some merit scholarship. So fortunately, I received those scholarship for all the 4 years in my BTech.
Okay.
So that was it. I'm not pretty sure and certain about what is the exact percentage, but
That's okay.
they
That's the
generally give it to
administration decision. Yeah. So when you say scholarship, you mean to say that the meaning of the scholarship here is you got some discount in your fees, tuition fees or something like that?
No, I think I think they give it back to your I think account itself. It's the kind of scholarship like that, which you can use to pay your fees or something like that.
Okay. Okay. So it was a monetary kind of help and scholarship.
Yes, correct,
Wonderful.
correct.
Wonderful.
That's all.
And you did your internship in Samsung R&D. That was through college only?
Yes, so Samsung came in my college during the, I think that was one semester before the placement season.
Okay.
And I think during that time I secured an internship in the Samsung R&D.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And I witnessed later on that you joined Cisco as a software engineer. So that was again a campus placement?
Yes, Cisco was also a campus placement. That's right.
Okay. Okay. So as per your experience, because you have taken internship, you have taken final placement from the college itself. So how was your experience otherwise, the kind of companies coming, the kind of profiles and the packages coming? How was your experience and advice to people who are coming for NSIT, especially because placements is a very, very important aspect along with academics?
So I think there are also two aspects to this question.
Sure.
First is like the kind of companies that are coming and the set of packages that they are offering. I would say that these are two completely different things, because it may happen that you may really want to work for company number one, but package of company two is good. So there is a kind of trade-off, and you have to choose very wisely whether you want to work in company one or company two. So that is a dilemma that many students face, and I have myself faced the same thing.
Sure.
Because when you are sitting in the placement auditorium and the company is coming and they are showing all those CTC breakups and all, so at that point that is the only kind of information you have, because the actual work that you will be working on in the company, that is not clear to you at that point. So maybe it's good idea when you are sitting in the campus placement to do some research of your own, see what kind of product that company is working on, and then see if it aligns with your interest. If it does, then I believe it makes sense to go for it. Running after package is generally not a good thing, because that's my personal belief is that after a certain point in time, everyone reaches to the same level.
So
So that is one advice that I would like to give to my juniors as well, that you may set that CTC thing aside for the campus placement and all. See the kind of profile you will be working on in the company, and if it suits you right, you find it interesting, then just give it a shot. First, learn on building the skill set and learning new techs and all, because that is the crucial thing. And then attaining the certain set of package, you can anyway do it after a certain point.
Sure. I'm so happy that, on my channel, I always tell people to look for the brand, the culture, and the role you are getting, and put the money aside, and you have articulated so well. So I think you opted for Cisco. And when I heard that long back that you joined Cisco, I was very happy that you opted for a brand. So that means while all companies were coming, you were focusing more on the brand and the profile they were offering. So, yeah. So when you joined Cisco as a software engineer, what was your primary role and responsibility? Because a lot of students would like to know that, we are joining as software engineer and what will be our role, what they should expect from this role when they are joining an organization of a brand.
Well, I believe most of the companies, I cannot generalize it, but most of the companies offer a software development role only, where they are working or expected to work in the development of a certain product. Now the problem with brands is that they have been developing that product since a very long time. So it may happen that you may end up working with a legacy code that has already been in place since quite a long time. So there you may not see opportunity to develop something on your own, because the product has been there, it is already very stabilized, and very few issues may come. So it may happen that your what I can say, your interest of joining the brand is that you will be working on this, that, but once you join that, you may not get all those things. And that is purely because it's a brand, right? It's a brand because of a reason, because they have already shipped a product that millions of people are using, and it's pretty stabilized. So obviously you can see, right, that you may not get very opportunity to change everything right up and down, right here and there. It's not at all possible. So, but generally with brand, you can expect this thing. I'm saying again, I cannot generalize. Sure. I have been, saying this after talking to a lot of my friends who have been working in the industry since past many years. So that is a general trend that I have seen. That with brands come this thing. But if you are joining some sort of startup, so for those, you can expect that the kind of things you will be working will be very new. Teams will be dynamic, small in size. You will end up working more also, because since startups generally have that culture, again, not generalizing, but based on what I hear, like
what you have experienced.
Yeah, based on the thing. So you will be working on tons of new projects, new technologies, and everything like that. So that thing generally comes with a startup, but with brands, I feel it's little different. Then I've also seen some companies like who doesn't work in the tech space, but they are mainly of the analyst role. So some people even in the computer engineering division opted for those roles. Now I'm not certainly sure like what exactly the profile looked like, but mostly it was not at all coding related. So because generally it may happen that even after 3 years of engineering, people realize that they do not want to pursue coding at all.
True.
So then there is another set of options like joining these companies like KPMG, Bain, etc., where the roles are mostly non-technical in nature. So they generally involve some sort of critical thinking and all those skills, which are very different from a techie role. Okay. Yeah. So one thing those students, if they want to pursue, they can expect something like that also.
Sure. So mainly you see two segments after doing BTech. One is definitely the software development, which is expected out of a BE computer engineering candidate, or maybe an analyst role, which I am also aware, and I'm sure a lot of listeners, professionals must be aware that organizations like Bain, McKinsey also, and KPMG, yes, they do offer analyst role wherein they use tools like Power BI and other tools to understand the business analytics need. And yes, they are taking BTech and BE in those profiles also. I think that's the diversion which which is entertaining BTech and BE. So how the transition from Cisco to Siemens happened? Because I witnessed in Cisco, you were there for 2 years, but in Siemens, you were pretty long, stable for more than 6 years. So how the transaction happened? What motivated you to look out, out of Cisco? As you shared, the experience was wonderful with Cisco.
So yeah, for sure, experience at Cisco was really wonderful. So there actually I was working in the web application development role.
Okay.
So basically in the software industry, I believe most of the companies work on that sort of roles. Like if you see Amazon, Google, etc., they are working on those kind of roles where you work on developing some sort of web application which performs certain set of functions. But at that point in Cisco, while I was working, I thought that it's time for me to go and apply for the roles that are more of the electronic centric nature. So Siemens EDA being one of those companies where the role was majorly based in the electronic design and automation based. Okay. And that was the kind of field which I thought I should work on. So okay. That was the primary motivation of going ahead, applying, and then working there. And that is also a different segment in itself. In the software industry also, you will see that some of the companies work on these web tools, and then there are other companies which also works on the EDA set of tools. So EDA, I would say, is a very niche domain kind of itself. Okay. And there are many few companies who are working in this. So Siemens EDA was obviously one of them, and it entails, working on a different skill set that was related to the electronics, and also at the same time software also. And I was more interested in pursuing that segment of the horizon to see like how these things functions and all. And it seemed pretty interesting to me, the kind of role and all. So that's why I thought like I should give it a shot. So,
okay, I'm sorry to the viewers. I didn't realize that it is not on off. So you mean to say, yes, you diversified into the electronics and just a second. So you mean to say that you diversified to electronics, automation, and how was your experience different from the typical engineering web development when you worked there for 6 years? Because you said that it is niche, and yes, it's a very big diversification. And now when I see that you have joined NSIS as a lead engineering, segment, how this transition has been different? Because if you see the industries, they are also different. Cisco belong completely to IT, and Siemens belong majorly into electronics. So how this transition, and what is this NSIS all about?
So let me first start by answering the very first question. How did this transition begin?
Sure.
So I would say that I spent a significant amount of time in learning all those electronic related subjects during my BTech course. That's why I said that, paying attention to your college subject is also equally important, because many of the students have this kind of notion that what they study during BTech is of no use. But I think very differently. On the contrary, I feel those subjects are very important. And I must add to it that currently, whatever I'm working on, very solid foundation of those things were laid out by my BTech subjects only.
Okay.
So basically, those learnings in the college itself played a key role in the transitioning for, this web application development role to the electronics based role. And obviously, I have to learn a new set of things, and I have to refresh my concepts that I learned during my college days. So I had to spend some time on the internet itself, go through various courses, get my concepts refreshed, understand the new concepts that those companies are working on, the kind of product they are working on. Because I believe whenever you join a new organization, you should know kind of product you will be working on. I know it's not possible to know it in and out, but at least maybe you can go online, watch some videos on the YouTube, or maybe go on the company's official website to see what they are working on. Get a synopsis of what they are working on, understand their vision, things like that. And I did exactly the same thing. And that gave me a solid understanding and helped me a lot in this transition from a role in one segment to a role in another segment. So
Hmm.
these are the kind of small things I did. Now coming back to your second question, like role at ANSYS. So this is also one of the semiconductor company where I'm working as a lead engineer.
Okay.
And yeah, they are basically in the development of the industry leading power analysis and reduction software.
Hmm.
So here also the kind of skill set that I'm working on are very similar, which I worked in the Siemens CDA. So
Hmm.
transition wise, I would say that transition was pretty smooth in this from the Siemens to
Hmm.
ANSYS. It
Hmm.
was difficult during my time from Cisco to Siemens, but this time it was pretty easy because I spent a significant chunk of my time in the Siemens. So there I learned a lot of new concepts, worked on a lot of new technologies, and understood few important electronics related subjects, concepts, key terms, and the kind of methodologies that the semiconductor company follows. So
Sure.
those kind of learnings, which I worked very aggressively during my initial years at Siemens, they helped me a lot, and they
Hmm.
made this transition from Siemens to ANSYS very smooth and peaceful for me.
Hmm.
So
I'm
role-wise,
very
it's
happy to
very
hear that
similar.
you did your BE in 2015, and it has been just 8 years, and you have explored three different industries from IT to electronics to now semiconductor. How the transaction was it easy or is it difficult? जब आपने एक industry से दूसरे industry shift किया, how was the level of difficulty? Because the industries are absolutely different, and even in your case, your work is also very different.
So I would say that the first transition was very challenging
Okay.
because obviously the company's expectation was very different.
Okay.
Uh, when I was working at the application level work, web application related work, but the expectation at Siemens EDA was something very different.
Sure.
So that transition was very challenging and difficult for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think somehow, as I said, that I spent a significant amount of time and worked very aggressively at that time
True.
to make my memory refreshed and learn all those concepts which I learned at the college courses as well.
Mm.
So, and obviously, when I was in Siemens, also I worked across many roles. Actually, if you can see from my LinkedIn profile as well.
Sure, sure. In
So
6 years, you have changed multiple departments. And what I'm learning from you today, and I'm sure all our followers must be learning from what you're saying. There is no replacement of hardcore academics, because time and again people do a lot of flashy certifications, people do a lot of PG programs, and I was about to ask that are you planning to do any PG program, but I am thrilled to see that you are exploring all your core subjects from BE so much into the relevant of the industries you are joining, because time and again students, followers, Harsh is actually referring back to his core subjects. I mean, this is actually a very beautiful example that, when you implement your academic to core of it to the industry, I mean, there is no dearth of learning and changing industry. And definitely your teachers play a main important role. So, tell me now, are any plans for further studies? Because till now you're still exploring your academics, implementing your subjects. What are your future plans now?
Uh, well, I don't think like pursuing any kind of post graduation or uh, PhD degrees. It's nothing like that on top of my mind.
Okay.
So certainly at this point, I can say that I'm not thinking of exploring anything on that side. And
Maybe
also,
yet
I
to
believe
explore
that
your PE subjects more and implementation more. Quickly, let us know something about your book. I was thrilled to see that you have written a book also on hands-on system design. What is it?
so I have a copy of book right here also.
You
Let
can
me
show
just
it to
also
our you
show
can
it
show
to
it to
my
our
viewers.
viewers. Acha.
Yeah.
Okay, put it in the middle,
So this
hands-on
is
system design. This is written by you.
yeah, it's written by
Now
me,
it is clear.
and yeah. So this is the book which I wrote, and I'm the sole author of this book.
Wonderful.
So yeah, so this
कितना
book
टाइम लगा
actually,
आपको ये बुक लिखने में?
I think it took around 1 year or little more than that. Yeah,
हाँ.
because you may say that writing a book is easy, or when you read a book, there also you seem like just read pages just like that, maybe in a day or two, but the kind of effort author puts when he or she writes the book, then it's tremendous.
So what
And
the book is all about?
So it's about, the core concepts that are behind any distributed system designing. So
Okay.
system designing is actually one of the hot topics in many interviews today.
Okay.
So be it any major company like Facebook, Google, or Amazon, or name any big company,
Sure.
they actually have a specific round on the system designing. Where
Okay.
they actually ask a student that suppose you have to design a system like a website that actually ships a product at particular place, or design a website like Instagram or something like that.
Okay.
These are actually the systems which we use daily,
Okay.
but we are not particularly aware of what is the underlying tech stack behind it.
Sure.
So these kind of questions are very hot in the interview market today.
Okay.
And if you go online and see, there are many courses which offers the same kind of things, like how to learn system design, how to do things like that, this, etc.
Okay.
And also, obviously, as I also changed two roles, so I also encountered the similar set of questions. So naturally, that was an instinct, and I thought that best way is to learn is to maybe write a book, and that was my own philosophy. So
Wonderful.
I thought, like, yeah, while I'm preparing, it doesn't harm to write a book as well. And then one of the publisher approached me, and then things seemed right, and then I thought of giving it a shot. And fortunately, it turned out to be successful. And then, like, here I've launched the book, and I'm pretty happy about it. So the
No,
book
my
actually covers
congratulations to
many
you.
good things.
And this gave me another beautiful idea. Let me know what are your thoughts. I really wish to do a podcast, a subsequent podcast in a series with you, wherein you can guide students. Maybe you're talking about system design, which I was noting when you were saying, and then you were talking a lot about interview preparation. In a sequence to this first episode with you, would you like to have one more podcast wherein you can tell people the top 10 interview questions or top 15 interview questions, or maybe top 5 areas wherein BE computer engineering people should prepare, because now you have worked for 3 industries in almost 8 years. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we can surely do that.
Okay.
But one thing I would like to, modify this, something like that. We cannot certainly generalize the set of questions that any company can ask,
Sure.
but we can, give a good possibility of the kind of domains from which they will be picking questions.
Okay. Okay.
So that is one set of thing on which we may have another podcast, and it would be good to guide students who are currently going to graduate from their college, and even for the people who are working currently but they want to switch to another company. So they may be also searching for the set of questions or the set of subjects that are needed to clear any interview. So I think it's a wonderful idea, certainly, and we can for sure do another podcast.
So viewers, we have got the confirmation from Harsh that the second podcast we will be doing, with a modification that we will pick up certain domains wherein you can prepare yourself, because definitely we can't tell you that what exactly the questions will be. We are just in the last 2 minutes of our podcast, and people who are listening to this podcast, if you have any question from Harsh, because BE from NSIT with such a brilliant exposure of 3 industries, you can have any question and you can put those questions in the description box below. And I promise that we will include those questions in our second podcast with Harsh. Quickly, in the last minute, Harsh, I'm very, very excited to know and curious to know, what is this building product from scratch?
Okay.
So you have just
it's not
30
something.
seconds.
So I think it is essentially, building a product right from the requirement to the fulfillment.
Okay.
For example, you can tell me build an app which lets me book a cab. So Uber comes in your mind, right? So how you will do it right from this particular statement to a particular app that actually is in your phone. So that I would say is like building from scratch.
So maybe
right from the ideation phase to the production stage.
Maybe
in
we
very
can
formal.
do sometime an episode on quick 5 or 10 steps how to build a product from scratch.
It's not feasible to,
Not in 5 or 10
say it.
steps.
Yeah, right. Because
We
it's
are
a
becoming
very
greedy with
huge.
harsh exposure now. Anyhow, thank
It's
you so
certain.
much, Harsh. Before it ends abruptly, I'm really looking forward to our second podcast episode, and I'm so very thankful for sharing wonderful experience of yours on our channel, Leader.
Sure. Thank you so much. It was